Hello, everybody. It is Pine the Pear, aka Bubbling, aka Coach Pine. However, you know me, you know whose video you clicked on. Now, this is episode 4 of Chiefs Recap. We're calling it, I think. Tough one against the Jets on Sunday Night Football. Chiefs barely squeaked out the win, 23-20. I mean, I knew it was going to be a tough game. That Jets defense really is no joke. And that offense, when they're clicking, they can be potent. But we squeaked out with the win. There was some controversy in the game. A lot more Taylor Swift coverage. Let's get right into it. Now, first thing I'm going to address is the refereeing. I saw a lot of people saying the Chiefs were handed the game and you know, the NFL is rigged. In my opinion, people are always going to say that sports are rigged for whoever the top dog is. Like, if the Chiefs sucked, nobody would be talking about the refereeing in that game. But because we are the, you know, top dogs of the NFL right now, everybody is like, oh, it's rigged for the Chiefs. It's rigged for the Chiefs. They did the same thing when Brady was on top. In the NBA, everybody always says it's rigged for LeBron or Curry or, you know, whoever's winning at that stage. We're never going to be able to get away from that. The fact of the matter is the refereeing in sports will never be completely equal, just because on any given play, you can call at least one penalty on something. If you don't believe me, watch this upcoming Thursday Night Football and watch the offensive line. Count how many holds or false starts or offsides or whatever it might be you see that doesn't get called. Because I can tell you right now, there is one on every single play you can call a holding. On every single play, you can call pass interference. On every single play, you can call hands to the face. It's just, how blatant is it? And in the case of this game, the Jets were gifted calls at the beginning of the game that nobody seems to remember. The safety that wasn't a safety, giving the Jets 2 points and possession of the ball, nobody seems to remember it. The horse collar tackle that wasn't a horse collar tackle, not to mention Breece Hall giving the stiff arm, had his fingers locked in our guy's face mask. Nobody seems to remember it. The only call that seems to be important is the holding call on Sauce Gardner that pretty much gave the Chiefs the win. But, you know, conveniently, everybody forgot about those other calls and the missed calls. That's the only one people remember. It's just like the Saints and Rams. Was it the championship game a few years back when there was just the obvious PI on the Rams that never got called? People only remember that play. They don't remember that the Saints, you know, had chances after and before that. They just remember that one call being the reason the Saints lost. Mahomes had a uncharacteristic off game. He threw 2 interceptions and probably should have threw another 2 in there. I know CJ Mosley dropped one, and I think one got called back due to that holding penalty I was talking about. Yeah, he just didn't really look good. His touch passes just looked off. He either would overshoot it or undershoot it on those touch passes, and it just overall wasn't a good game for him. But thankfully, our rushing attack finally came through. Isaiah Pacheco had 20 carries for 115 yards, and as a team, we had 204 yards on the ground. And this team really works best when we can combine the rush and the pass. You know, years ago, we were a rushing-only team before Mahomes, and even before Alex Smith. We were known for having great running backs and a great rushing attack. And over the last, I'll say, 6 or so years, we've been a very pass-focused team. And teams know that, and teams take advantage of that. Obviously, it's worked, but you know, if you get stuck into throwing the ball on every down and they don't have to defend the run, it's going to make it a lot easier for the defense. So I was glad to see that the rushing attack finally came through. I just finished the video and realized I completely forgot to mention this. Who is this team's wide receiver 1? Can anybody make sense of this wide receiver room for me, please? There was only 2 wide receivers with more than 2 catches. There are a few with 1. Kadarius Toney had 2. Rashee Rice had 3. Is Rashee Rice the team's wide receiver 1? Because it seems like there's at least 1 drop every game from him, which doesn't sound like a lot, but like when the ball is in Rice's hands, he's great. He can make people miss. He's good at finding open lanes. He gets down the field. But that 1 drop every game might come to cost us soon, and hopefully we can clean that up. Kadarius Toney obviously had a terrible game in week 1. He has bounced back and been very reliable. I don't know if he's dropped a pass since. But who is this team's wide receiver 1? Somebody please make sense of this for me, please. Now, defensively, we didn't play bad of a game. We allowed 18 points, which is solid. I mean, it's a little more than you'd like, but, it gave us the win. We were getting consistent pressure on Zach Wilson. He was running for his life on, a good handful of plays. Linebackers looked pretty solid, scraping over for the run game and for Wilson rollouts and all that good stuff. Secondary did look a little suspect, but it was in spots. Like there was the one pass down the field where Trent McDuffie fell down and it was a big completion, and then there was a few other ones that were just like miscommunication or, something like that. So I'm not too worried about it in the future. And, I really like how we played this game. Obviously, if Mahomes doesn't throw those 2 interceptions and that safety doesn't get called, game's a lot different. We probably win by a lot more. But, we just need to clean up the errors and we'll be all right. I'm Pine the Pear, and that's my take. I'll see you next week.